This is a case that has deeply disturbed the medical community and the public alike. A former NICU nurse in Virginia is now at the center of a criminal investigation involving some of the most vulnerable patients imaginable: premature infants. The nurse in question is 26-year-old Erin Strotman. For 2 years, she worked in the neonatal intensive care unit, also known as the NICU at Henrico Doctors Hospital in Richmond, Virginia. There, she was responsible for caring for critically ill and extremely premature babies. These newborns, some just 23 weeks old and weighing under a pound, were fighting for their lives. But instead of receiving care, prosecutors say some of those babies were harmed. Between 2022 and 2024, Strotman allegedly injured at least 9 infants in the NICU under her care. In May, a special grand jury added even more charges against her, bringing the total number of criminal counts to 20. These charges include multiple counts of felony, child abuse and neglect, as well as malicious wounding, a serious felony in the state of Virginia. Some of the injuries described are hard to comprehend. According to official reports, infants suffered broken bones, bruises across their bodies, and bruising shaped like fingerprints. In one especially disturbing detail, some of her actions were reportedly caught on video surveillance, showing what authorities describe as mishandling of infants too young to cry out or resist. The Virginia Board of Nursing issued a 16-page emergency suspension of Strotman's nursing license. In that report, the board declared her a, quote, substantial danger to public health or safety. The suspension is immediate and prevents her from working in any healthcare setting pending the outcome of her trial. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture, it was a direct response to the gravity of the allegations. The board's findings suggest that not only were the alleged injuries severe, but that they were part of a troubling pattern of behavior. But this story doesn't end with one nurse's actions. It's now becoming a broader investigation into how a hospital environment meant to protect vulnerable lives may have failed to do so. In 2023, the hospital reportedly began to suspect that Strotman may have been responsible for unusual and unexplained injuries to NICU patients. At that time, she was placed on paid administrative leave. However, by 2024, she was allowed to return to work. During her return, hospital officials installed surveillance cameras in the NICU to monitor her interactions with patients. But shockingly, no one was assigned to actively monitor those cameras. As a result, authorities believe that the abuse may have continued even after the initial concerns were raised. This has raised serious questions about accountability. The Virginia Department of Health has launched an investigation into Henrico Doctors Hospital to determine whether enough was done to prevent further harm to patients. In high-risk medical environments like NICUs, constant vigilance is not optional, it's a necessity. The systems in place are designed to catch warning signs before harm is done. But in this case, it appears those systems failed. Concerns about motive also emerged early in the investigation. There were initial reports speculating that certain children may have been targeted based on their race. However, Henrico Police Chief Eric English addressed these claims publicly, stating that investigators found no evidence to support racial targeting as a motive. That statement has brought some clarity, but for the families involved, the questions haven't ended. Strotman has been out on bond since February 2024. Despite the seriousness of the charges, a judge declined the prosecution's request to revoke her bond. She is currently awaiting trial, which is scheduled to begin in February of 2026. That means families, legal teams, and the wider public may have to wait nearly 2 years for full resolution. For now, the case moves slowly through the legal system, while the consequences remain deeply felt. For the parents whose infants were allegedly harmed, justice is not just about punishment, it's about answers. How could this have happened? Were warning signs missed? Could someone have spoken up sooner? This case is not just about a single nurse or a single hospital. It's about trust. The trust that parents place in medical professionals. The trust that healthcare systems are built on. And the trust that, when something goes wrong, there are safeguards in place to make it right. the story of Erin Strotman is still developing. More details may emerge as the investigation continues and the trial approaches. The outcome remains uncertain. But what is certain is this: the lives of these 9 infants and their families have been forever changed. If you'd like to stay informed about this case and others like it, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching and for caring.